house site preparation up in Boone, North Carolina. We started first with obviously clearing the property, and then we had to come in and do this septic system. The septic system here was extremely tricky because this terrain, you can see in the video, is a little bit steep, not extremely, but very, very, very rocky. You can see rock in all the soil beside the leach field lines. And if you look off into the woods all the way around where we've dug leach field lines, you can see lots and lots and lots of perk holes in the woods. This small footprint here that we've dug up and put the septic system in is the only spot on this entire property that would perk for a conventional system. So what that means is this very small area that we've dug and laid this system out and installed it is the only area that we could do just a regular gravity fed system. And if we screwed this installation up at any point, we would then have to switch to an aerobic system or a drip system or pump systems, a couple other options we would have had here, but that also would have come with a very significant cost to either ourselves for screwing that up or the homeowner. So very tricky. We had to work slowly. The customer wanted to leave all the trees as much as possible in the area there that we were doing the install. And when you're doing these leach field lines, if you guys haven't installed septic systems before, they have to go in on grade and be absolutely perfect as you shoot across with the inspector. So we took lots of time to make sure that every single one of these infiltrator chambers was perfectly level as we went through. Once the septic system was installed, land was cleared, we brought the larger excavator back in and we started to balance some of the site. Rock and kind of staging it up is going to be a garage pad. We needed to do a cut fill in this area to kind of balance that side of the site, and this is just above the septic system, and that's why we also did all this in the order that we did it in. We installed the septic and then we did the balancing of the lot above the septic and then dug the basement out so that everything had proper fall over to the septic system. As we were doing our cut fill, moving soils, we pulled out all the large boulders and we used those for a retainer wall to make a nice level pad for the garage site. We're then going to move over to start digging the basement. And if you remember, this is extremely rocky soil, so we had to bring in a large excavator with a hydraulic hammer attachment to bust through rock. So we kind of used 3 different machines on this, using the larger hammer to bust up rock, the smaller hoe to pull material back and throw into a pile, and then the skid steer was moving soil further down the lot to kind of create a little bit of a level entertainment area behind the house. We spent several days hammering through the rock and got all the footings in. These were CMU poured block walls, so we dug a 2x2x2 footing all the way around and a bunch of piers in the center for posts to come up through the house. You can see on the exterior of the footings, we dug a bunch of piers also for the deck footings. And we are actually about to go back to this property and do final grade, so stay tuned for that video. We were called into a site down in Union Mills, North Carolina. It's kind of a unique little spot. These folks were going to put a total of 3 smaller living quarters, 2 RVs, and essentially a storage building that they were going to convert into like a tiny home. They're putting all 3 of those units in this smaller lot to do some Airbnbs out of, and they were all going into a new septic system that we're going to install on this site. It was a wooded lot. They wanted to leave it as wooded as possible and just do the bare minimum to get a driveway in, but also large enough with radius and the turns to be able to get the 40-foot camper in. Also, the storage building was 30 feet long, so we had to be able to get all that stuff in there without rubbing on any of the trees. You can see here with this process, we always start with the septic system first, so we can reverse engineer everything else to make sure that we have proper grade. This was an engineered system, although it is just a regular gravity-fed system. Because it's a small lot and there's 3 different living quarters going on it, we did have to have an engineer design this. Very simple install, just going to a single 1,000-gallon infiltrator tank. It was roughly 250 linear feet of infiltrator chamber. Again, all in serial distribution, just in regular gravity-fed system. You can see here we have the entire system installed, ready for inspection. You can see lots of PVC because we had to run PVC from every one of the campers over to the tank. System's in and inspected. We backfill everything there, make sure all vegetation and trashy soils, meaning any stripping, mulch. You can see there's lots of mulch on the site where someone tried to come in and clean it up before. Root matter that's going to go back in when we're backfilling. We brought fresh gravel in for the driveway. We always do 4 inches of ballast and then 4 inches of ABCM to go on top of that, giving us 8 inches of material. And of course, here in the mountains, it seems like we're always working in wet conditions, and we've got the single axle dump truck stuck. Tag teaming this thing with a excavator in the front and skid steer in the back. You get this thing in here, you're to bring the gravel in, because we do gravel the entire area where the RVs are parked. Get this nice and clean for them before they have to start bringing those in and track mud everywhere. What we did clear, the customer wanted to leave brush and the logs. You see that those are stacked up here in the corner. They're going to use the logs for campfires and slowly burn the brush on site. After installing the septic system, started to balance the site, so everything was on a nice level grade and could still have proper drainage over to the new septic system. And we are finished up here. Gravel all the way in, gravel the whole pad, and voila, all 3 homes in and set up, ready for them to enjoy.